To be a good, capable superintendent and needs to take care of three areas. The one is instruction, and the other area is finance, money, and the third area is personnel. Is the hire good people or keep good people. And my three questions for the interview superintendent, and three questions would be involved in these three areas. The first question is for the personnel, and the second question is for finance, and the third question is how to keep the facilities of this district. And by answering these three questions, and we can find out the capability of the superintendent, how it can handle the daily operation of the school district. And the common question asked is how to deal with the most difficult part. And the experience of the potential superintendent, what was the most difficult problem that you have engaged in the past in these three areas. And by answering the three areas and answering three questions, and we'll find out and how the capability of this superintendent is. So these are three questions I want to ask.
That's a big question. First of all, I see the superintendent's role as carrying out the vision and the mission set by the school board. So that has to be clearly laid out for that superintendent. The first question I would ask, do you have experience being a superintendent and leading teachers and staff in other places other than this? I think that's important because that is the top level that is carrying out the vision for our whole district. So that has to be a very important question. If the person says no, and then I think we have to be very careful to give him the supervision necessary. Obviously, that would be a new superintendent. He needs to have someone really making sure he understands how to lead a district and how he needs to keep morale up, how he needs to carry out that vision. I know it's not an easy job. I know it's a very difficult job. But I think it's only fair to the person you select to not throw him under the bus and make sure he has the skills and the leadership and the training to do what he is hired to do. Number two, I would ask how he wants to implement the vision of the district. I'd like to have a feel for what his ideas are and how he thinks and how he figures things out. Because, you know, I think as a board member, I would need to know that. And the third thing would be, I'm going to go back to experience. If he hasn't been a superintendent, has he been around classrooms? Has he been in classrooms? Has he led a team of anybody who has to do with teaching our kids? If not, again, he's going to need a lot of supervision from his school board. So, thank you.
I have to put my glasses on for this one. In my opinion, the superintendent's role, he is the ambassador of our school district. He represents every parent, every student, every teacher, every classified worker, anybody who lives within our Rowland Unified School District. And if that individual were sitting in front of me today, I would ask him, because I believe profoundly that, let me give you a little bit of background, why I'm going to give you the three questions this way. As a retired deputy sheriff, I worked in a pretty, what we call a busy station, okay? A station that when you got in your patrol car, crime was waiting for you. You didn't have an arrest within 5 minutes, then you weren't doing your job. You also ran into sergeants, lieutenants that had done 5, 10, 15, 20 years of patrol time. We also ran into those sergeants, lieutenants, and captains that never did a minute of patrol time in their career. Who am I going to trust? Who am I going to have confidence in? The sergeant, captain, lieutenant that did patrol time, or those personnel members that never had a minute of patrol time? So what I believe is that a superintendent has to have an educational background. They have to be in the classroom. They have had to have had that experience as a teacher, as an instructor. They had to be face-to-face with parents, face-to-face with children and students. I believe that. And I think it's necessary and essential that the next superintendent should have that. I'd like to know how they would practice transparency, and if they believe in integrity, because I do, and that's paramount in my decision making. And I'd like to know what their managing style is like. Are they able to rise to the occasion and elevate everybody around them to succeed? Thank you.
Over the course of 12 years, I was board president 3 times. Once at ROP, where we selected as superintendent, twice here in Rowland. And asking questions is very critical in that process. Certainly, from my perspective, experience would have been one of those questions. And experience, to me, because in the context of the superintendent is a CEO of an organization, has to be a school organization. We call him a superintendent. And when you think about a school district, we think about the classroom first, because that's the work of the school district. But there's a lot of other work within the school district as well, because you have classified personnel within the school district. They take care of so much within the school district that you don't necessarily think of right away. And someone has to manage all of that. And actually that's superintendent. Superintendent has to manage food services and the police and facilities and the CBO, and the list goes on, curriculum, instruction. So being a CEO of an organization is very complex, and it's certainly complex in the school district, because there are many things that are very complex in a school district. Secondly, I'd ask that person, how were they going to assure student achievement in the district? Because student achievement is really a critical piece. And lastly, I would ask, and this has come with the experience of what we're experiencing in this election, that communication really has to be critical for that person. How are they going to handle communication to everyone?
We all know superintendent have to hire our principal. We vary our principal. Also, this person also need to follow up with the person that he hired. So basically, he had to oversee our whole entire school district. As an educator myself, I think holding this position, this person need to have enough education background. And as an educator, I think that this position, where we're holding this position, the person holding this position also need to know the needs of our students, our children, our teachers. To me, there's one thing very important too, is he got to love the children. You can't do something that if you don't like and you force yourself to work for it, that's not going to be, you're not going to have a happy life. You should do something you like, you will make you happy. So love children is important, and support our education. And also got to have the capability to bring people together to solve the problem. Leadership skill is also very important, because that's a position actually controlling the entire school district or helping out. And can this person actually bring out the vision that board sets out, conveyed to our school district? That's also the thing that I think is, we need to know, is very important. Also, this person do he have the courage to be open-minded, to listen to people, and to really communicate with people? Also, can we trust the person that we have to holding on this position as a superintendent? Thank you.
I'm going to piggyback off of what Lynn said. The job of the superintendent is to make sure that the district's mission and vision statement is implemented correctly, and also their value statement. And then their other part of their job is to oversee the cabinet and make sure that things are operating efficiently and effectively. If I were on the interview panel for a superintendent, one of the first questions I would ask is, what is your experience as a teacher in the K-12 school district? And the reason why that's important to me is because I think a lot of problems come out of a superintendent not understanding what happens at the school site level. If you've never worked on a campus of a K-12, how can you truly dictate to them what they should be doing and how they should be doing it and what kind of money they need to do it? The other part is that I would ask them how they felt about school site funding versus centralized district funding, because our kids are not dollar signs. Though some people like to say that they are, they're not. We're not operating a business here. We do need to have money to make sure that we run our schools effectively, but we're not in the business of just counting dollars. And then my final question to them would be, how will you ensure transparency and engage the community in the educational process? Because an involved parent is going to have a successful child. I think that there's so many of us in this room who are a testament to that, where our parents were there, our parents knew the people at the school sites, they knew what was going on, and we also knew what was going on in our district. That's why I'm an involved parent, because I like to know what's going on, and I want to make sure I'm there to support my child's education. So those are the three key questions that I would ask of a superintendent.
All of them, Mrs. Parker's prior answers, and all the school site council. I don't mind delegating the power to the schools. However, when the parents donate funds, they are trust funds, they are not gifts. I have been one of the primary donators for my son's class so long. And when I asked for a copy of accounting at the UN, I never got one. And that's wrong. We are not giving out as a gift. It's a trust funds for the school, how to allocate the funds for the teachers or the students. We need accountability. We need transparency. And that's what another reason why I'm running. Now, in terms of the superintendent, I think we have been talking about really sort of abstract, empty terms here. Everyone can talk about it. I have personal experience dealing with the current superintendent, Mr. Frutos. Mr. Fruto is really the one that lacks the integrity. Why? Because I was brought to his office by a board member saying that you should comply with the law to produce documents to me in due course. And yet, he's the one who told me we do not have an employment contract for school principals. If anyone believes that there's no employment contract for a school principal in this district, please raise your hand. None. So it must be a contract, right? Employment contract. And yet, this is the superintendent who told me we don't have a contract for the school principals here. And we don't have a contract for the superintendent himself. We don't have a contract, employment contract for the assistant superintendent. That's a lie. What we need is someone who has the integrity to comply with the statute, comply with the law, who has the ability to enhance the educational academic quality, who should act as a nexus for the community, for the students, for the parents, for the board, who is able to say no when it has to be no. Not a puppet, not a mushy person. Okay, so my approach is when we deal with it, if not good, I want to empower the community to remove it. Overriding the board. And the only way to accomplish that is to rewrite the statute, rewrite the bylaws that governs the board of directors.